Worth the War. My name is Kimmy. The purpose of this channel is rethinking love and sparing hearts, preparing people for healthy love and relationship and how to avoid abuse. If you think we can do a better job with love and relationship than we're currently doing, then you have found the right place. Down below, you'll see we're on many social media outlets where you can join our communities and be engaged in the conversation. We also have a website where we're putting out new resources to help people, whether they're recovering from a broken relationship that was abusive, or they're helping prepare their kids to grow, or they just really think we need to rethink how we approach all of this. We have lots of places where you can engage. We would love for you to follow us here. Subscribe to our channel. Press the notification bell if you want to know when we're going to be putting out new videos. We believe that much can be done when it comes to rethinking love and relationship that will spare many hearts, but we can't do it alone and we need you. I've always promised that we will be content driven, and today will be no different. Our topic today is how to support an abuse survivor. We are surrounded by abuse, whether we want to open our eyes to it or not. 1 out of 4 women, 1 out of 10 men are going to experience intimate partner violence, violence at the hand of someone they're supposed to be able to love or to trust. If we're going to have those kinds of numbers, we are assured that we're going to know someone, love someone, or have someone in our circle who will be either experiencing or recovering from this kind of devastation. So let's get together some things that we can know and learn that will help us be better prepared to support those people as we find them. One of the most surprising things about knowing and watching people who have been through abusive situations try to recover is that one of the worst parts of it is how their friends and family sometimes will respond to them. It is very difficult to understand what it's like to have gone through that. Somebody you're supposed to be able to trust actually wanted you to hurt or did hurt you, and you essentially have nobody to turn to because they don't know what to say to you. And instead of actually saying, I don't know what to say to you, they forget what it means to actually be a friend, to be there when things are hard, to actually tie yourselves together so that you can get through hard times together. Unfortunately, we're raising a generation that seems to be missing that, and our second video on this series is going to be about things we can do as parents to help those younger generations understand how to respond to these kinds of situations. But for today, let's just start with the idea that we really need to understand what a friend is and just be one. If there's one message that we want to make sure that we grab from this video, it's that that person that we're calling a survivor is a friend first. There are so many stats that we can go through about how many people are experiencing this kind of abuse, and then look at how the trauma affects them and how many have so much trouble getting back into a quote-unquote normal life. This video is about how can we respond to someone who's been through this in a way that will actually not heap more pain on them, but help them to heal. Being a friend that earns the title actually isn't going to require you to have a therapy degree. You don't have to understand everything about how people respond to abuse. But one of the first things you can do is understand when you see abuse and you see some of the signs. You aren't going to be privy to the quiet details of it, but there are some things that you can look for. abc.net does, and I'll link it down below, does a great job of just a really short and concise list of things that you want to look for. This video is more about being a friend if someone is abused, but part of being a friend is being able to recognize the kinds of things that exist that we can get our antennas up to see that there's something going wrong in the relationship. Just really quickly, I'll say control is an issue. Look for it, listen for it. Demeaning in public or in private if you find that they're always kind of going at that person. Financial control, the inability to make decisions with your own resources or to be trusted with them. Sexual control. If you find that they're doing things, talking about doing things that they actually don't really seem to want to do, but rather it's forced on them, or do you see any signs that they don't even get to choose those kinds of things? The social control, are they being isolated, funneled down to just a few people that this person approves of? Technological control, do they not have any control over their phone, their computers, their ability to communicate that way? And lastly, just physical telltale signs. Are they embarrassed about wounds or injuries? Do they do things that seem to show a shivering away from somebody? These kinds of things, when you get hurt, you usually aren't afraid to show somebody that you've got an injury, a scar, a puffiness, whatever. But that doesn't exist when you've been abused, and you can't really put all together how someone that you care about could do that to you. So part of being a friend is understanding that there are some simple, very short things that we can learn that would actually make us more available to the people in this world that there are so many of that really need us to understand what they've been through. What we really need when we're in times of healing or we've really gone through something is a real friend, somebody who is actually there, who will reach out to us. The sick very rarely reach out to the well. Poor rarely reach out to the rich. The wounded rarely reach out to the healed. So we need to take it upon ourselves to understand what these people have gone through, just to really be the kind of friend that we would want someone to be to us. One of the areas that we can understand, and again, we don't need a degree in this, we don't need to know therapy and healing trauma, but we can understand what trauma is. The way I describe trauma often is that it's the idea that our brains actually protect us from terrifying things and difficult things. And when someone's hurting us, especially if we care about them, that's too much for our brain trying to really process. So we go into this kind of mode where we're being protected. The problem is when we're out of the danger zone, that protection doesn't just unpeel and everything's fine. It has to be slowly unwound. It has to be something that you work through. And sometimes that process is extraordinarily hard and extraordinarily long. So there's some things that we can take just 5, 10, 15 minutes to understand that would help us to be better friends to people who have endured trauma and are actually trying to get through the healing process. Again, we don't need a degree, but we can look at some things that will just help us a little bit. There's an article on help.org that I also will put down below that essentially says there's some do's and don'ts that we should probably understand about trauma. The don'ts are don't pressure them into using their words. Words are often the last step of healing. Our goal isn't to get out of them what will help them heal. They need to know when it's time to let the words go. Another one is we do want to provide them social safety. I can't tell you how many times when people go through endure abusive things, they actually get shunned by their social group, and that could be so wounding. It makes them feel like they not only deserve the abuse they got, but they literally don't deserve to have friends. You're pouring it on when that happens, and I see it over and over again. It sounds really oversimplified, but invite them places, spend time with them, care more about them than you do about the fact that you're uncomfortable. That's what real friends do. Another simple thing you can do is just don't get really worked up. If they do share things with you, you may get angry, you may be upset, but your job is to stay stable for them. Let them feel the emotions they feel they're going to go through. Awareness and sadness and shock, and they're going to have memories that come to them at times they don't expect it, and it's going to be slow unwinding, and our job is to stay calm and to be a steady place in the storm. We don't have any reason to pile onto them that they should carry our anger or our frustration, so just be a safe place for them. That doesn't take a degree, that just takes a little bit of heart. So what else besides being able to identify, even in subtle ways, what abuse looks like? And to be able to get an understanding, trauma itself is something that we need to have a lot of respect for and really be supportive and realize it's a long-term unwinding for the people that we care about to get over having been traumatized, especially by the people that they cared about. The next thing that we have to realize is, and sometimes it gets misunderstood, is this idea of believing them. I think some people in this culture of pointing fingers and victim blaming, we want to figure out where the line of between what they say is and what they did and how they invited it. We really kind of want to parse all that out and do a lot of it. But that's really not the role of a friend, because that's all about us. Very rarely, and there's been studies done on it, would anybody lie about being abused by someone they care about. So when somebody has enough trust in you to tell you what they've been through, set aside your judgment hat and just listen to them. Let them know that you're sorry they went through it. Be a friend, stand up and decide, I'm going to care more about what you've been through and what you're dealing with than my opinion of it. If you can do that, you are well on your way to be able to actually be able to be a friend that will help this person get one step closer to being healed. And the last thing that you need to really do is be real. First, be real with yourself. Do you have what it takes to be there for the pain as well as for the party? Be real to say, I actually understand that this stuff can take years to work through, and I'm going to be there for the times to kind of get them out and lift them up. Can I really be there for that long? Some people don't have it in them, and it's important for you to know that in yourself. If you do, then put on your seatbelt and be there for them. It may take years, it may, but it will be time that you will be bonded together. And part of the healing of trauma is when someone receives a proper response from someone who they care about and who they should be able to trust. Every time that happens, it unwinds one grasp of trauma that they have on their lives. It's actually part of the healing process when you are trustworthy, when you are real, when you are there for them. And that is a gift that you also get to experience. As in so many things, we get to choose if we're part of the problem or part of the solution. And when it comes to being a friend, we can pile on more pain to someone by judging them, not be there for them when they need them, and actually reject them in terms of social situations and make their pain worse and their healing slower. Or we can be the opposite of that, and we can do all the things we've talked about here. Recognize when they're in pain, understand a little bit about what trauma is, be real with them, be honest with them, and believe them. If we do that, we get to be a part of healing. When we really think about this, being a good friend is no different than being a good friend to ourselves. We deserve and we have value. And if we give that to others, we're being a good friend. And that takes time and it takes effort. It means so much that you were here today. I know that there's so many other channels that are producing so much good stuff. So it means a lot that you took the time to watch this. And it's a little longer than my usual video, so it really does. Our next video is going to be about how we can parent in a way that creates people like this, that creates friends that can support abuse survivors. If we don't turn that around, there's going to be nobody around to support the people that are hurting, and then we're going to be in a big mess. So thanks a lot for being here. Please consider subscribing to our channel and joining our community. We are going to make a difference, but we really can't do it alone. Have a great rest of your day.